Hi, my name's Steve Zweig, and I'm going to be talking to you today about the CliniSense LifeTrack, a new concept in stability monitoring. Well, there are many different types of perishable products. For example, there are chemicals, foods, pharmaceuticals, vaccines, and many thousands or millions of other types of perishable products as well. Here's an example of a perishable vaccine. LifeTrack stability sensors ensure their perishable products are always good, no matter what has happened to them in storage or transport. Here's an example of what a LifeTrack technology demonstration unit looks like. Now, LifeTrack tags stay with your product throughout their entire lifetime, and this is a new concept, so let's examine this a bit. The tag itself is a cradle-to-grave product, and it continually monitors your product from the time the product leaves the factory till the time your ultimate user consumes the product. The tag monitors the temperature history throughout your product's entire lifetime, and here's a graph showing that, for example, quite often the temperature history will be extremely complicated with lots of ups and downs. And what distinguishes the LifeTrack unit from a conventional temperature logger is that although a conventional temperature logger will continually record the product's time temperature history, a conventional logger doesn't analyze it. To make the determination as to whether your product is still good or not, that logger has to be retrieved, data from it downloaded, and then a stability expert who understands the product has to analyze that data and then make a judgment call as to whether or not that product is still good or not. And this can take days, weeks, or months. And as a result, your users don't really know when the product arrives if it's still good or not. Well, what we've done is we've basically taken that stability expert that would analyze temperature logger data, and we've basically automated it, miniaturized your stability expert, and have put it in with every LifeTrack tag. And as a result, the LifeTrack tag itself continually computes if the product is still good or not, without the need of a human stability expert to come and download data and analyze it. Now let's see how this works. The outside of the tag has a visual display, and what you'll first see, of course, is a large plus, and that's meant to show users at a glance that the product is still good. The side of the display also has 4 little bars that is meant to show, well, how good is it? And in this case, 4 bars means that it's 100% fresh. Well, as your product is exposed to time and temperature and starts to deteriorate, it'll gradually decay, and when the product is 75% fresh, you'll see 3 bars. When it's 50% fresh, you'll see 2 bars. 25% fresh, 1 bar. And when it's still good but just about ready to turn, you'll see no bars and a big plus. And then eventually, when the product has been sitting around too long and is aged and should no longer be used, you'll see a big minus, and that's again meant to show at a glance that the product is expired. If for some reason you don't want to show stability bars, these can be deleted from the product. Well, in order to configure a LifeTrack and basically embed that little stability expert into the LifeTrack tag, the first thing you need to do is to get the stability data for your product. And quite often, your company's stability experts will actually have this information on hand. For example, vaccines, there's a lot of interest in making sure vaccines are good, and as a result, vaccine stability data is published for many different journals. Here, for example, we'll use a WHO study on the thermostability of vaccines. And what you do is find the data showing how long your product can last at various temperatures. And that can be used to generate a stability profile. The next thing to do is to go to our website and download a LifeTrack programming spreadsheet. And here's an example of downloading the spreadsheet and then opening it up. And once you get the spreadsheet, you simply enter the stability data into the spreadsheet. And many of our spreadsheets can do this for you automatically. If you find this complicated or you have some unusually complex project, talk to us and we'll be happy to help you out here. But once you enter the stability data into the LifeTrack spreadsheet, the spreadsheet will calculate how best to program the LifeTrack unit. Once you do that, you get the LifeTrack unit and you peel off a little rubber plug at the bottom that covers the programming port. And you plug a little programming jack into the programming port. And then you upload the stability data from the spreadsheet to the LifeTrack unit. And this is shown in the diagram below, where basically the stability data from a personal computer is downloaded into the stability memory of a LifeTrack tag. And the LifeTrack tag then is unplugged from the programmer, and then for years if necessary, continually samples the temperature every few minutes, and using the stability memory and the microprocessor continually calculates whether or not the product is still good based upon the pre-programmed stability criteria. After the LifeTrack unit is programmed, you simply attach it to the carton where your product is stored. Often it's useful to make a custom carton with, for example, a small window in it and put the LifeTrack unit inside the carton so that people can glance through the window in the carton, see the display, and yet the thermistor in the LifeTrack unit that monitors temperature is still exposed to the inside of the carton. And if necessary, that thermistor can be mounted on a several-inch wire lead to protrude still further into the carton if necessary. One particularly useful feature of the LifeTrack unit is, let's say for example, you've sent out your perishable product to your users, and your users are expecting it to come in with a big plus and 4 bars, and instead it comes in and instead the package is showing a big minus because something bad has happened to the product in storage or transit. Well then if this happens, you or your users can interrogate the LifeTrack tag and find out exactly what happened. And each LifeTrack tag has a small infrared diode that outputs the time temperature history of the product right around the time that the stability failure occurred. In this respect, it acts a lot like an airplane black box recorder that continually records data, but then if the airplane crashes, it records, well, what happened right before the crash. In the same way, the LifeTrack unit records what happened to the product right before it was killed. And in this example, here's a product that was supposed to have been frozen, but instead it expired, and the LifeTrack unit shows, well, it expired exactly 2,407 hours ago, and it also outputs the history of what happened to the product right before expiration. And we see that right before expiration, this product was frozen as it should have been, but then something happened. Somebody left it out and it warmed up to room temperature and stayed there for quite a while, and this then is exactly when and how the problem occurred. And using this information, you can then find out, well, who had it 2,407 hours ago, and do corrective action to make sure this problem doesn't occur again. So I would argue that LifeTrack is the right way to monitor product stability. Thank you.